I speak of Rajiv Malhotra, I feel like I know him since a long time. I'm sure we have in our souls and being have been together on many paths because we share similar thoughts, similar desires for the world, which is always the best. And we have both found in the Vedic knowledge and the ancient traditions of India knowledge that is universal, that is actually scientific, even though it has been covered or planned or started in a context of a specific tradition. It actually applies to every human being, and that's why it's scientific. It's like discovering the laws of nature. So Rajiv, in his writing and the podcast I have had the honor and pleasure to do with him, has really impressed me even more and more in his foundation, in his work, in his books, about his desire to bring the best for all mankind. This is an authentic person. So he looked, for example, at the different teachings, the different knowledge of what is presented in the world, particularly regarding yoga and meditation. And I was struck by his authenticity, which means he, in the talks that we have, wants things to go back to their source. And that is very important. His respect for the source of the knowledge, where does it come from? And that means his attention on the purity of the teaching, on it being really taught and understood from the original thoughts and the original discoverers or the original cognizers and rishis that have known that on the purity of their consciousness and then has expanded it, and they have given it for humankind to benefit and not to use it as, in any way necessarily as a business or adapt it to make others, happy, for example, as one sees in general feelings of politics and, science of sociology and all that. And he really wants the purity of the teaching. And that is a very, very important quality, in that whatever the knowledge is and whatever its effectiveness is, we give it as it is, even if during a certain period of time in society, maybe people think differently or we go through different cultural changes. Of course, the knowledge has to adapt, but if there is a higher end, a higher value, we go for that, no matter what you would think, would please the people on the surface level. So that is really a story of authenticity, sincerity, truthfulness. And the spirit in which he's doing it, it captures the spirit of Maharishi. Maharishi was just authentic, and he said things as they are. He saw things in what the consciousness allows to see and expose them, bring them, to improve them from wherever they are, whatever they are. And so Rajiv ji, Shri Malhotra ji, is interested to go back to the source and keep the knowledge that Maharishi has brought to light in its full purity from its own essence. And Maharishi has spoken hours and hours, thousands and thousands of hours that are on tapes. And in his teaching, there are different levels of instructions, of techniques, of ways of understanding reality. And even you pick up one of them or two of them or three of them, they are extremely valuable. And so some people pick up something and they use it. And what I understand from Rajiv ji is that he wants to make sure it's put in a context that is holistic, that is complete, that brings the total knowledge, because sometimes partial knowledge is a dangerous thing. And Maharishi was here to bring enlightenment, to bring full understanding of the nature of life. They bring to the individual the ability to live perfection in their lives, and that is possible. And he brought all the techniques from the Vedic literature and structured them in an organized way. And so I think Malhotra ji wants to emphasize that and wants to show that, and to show that, this comes from a tradition that is thousands of years old and that has its effectiveness in so many fields of life. I think he believes in AI as a great advancement, like we all do. Those an amazing tool. But AI will be able to guide you and give you the results based on the data that you give it to AI. I have seen in Malhotra ji a wonderful desire that this knowledge that is input, that is put in AI, is complete and it's holistic. And for example, it takes into consideration the knowledge that is brought from the Veda and Vedic literature in its proper context as a scientific knowledge, as a true knowledge of life for support of life on all phases, not as just an isolated knowledge that is like a sect or like a separate belief system, but a true system and a true knowledge of life. Malhotra ji, for example, takes an example like if you ask, what is Krishna doing with the gopis and all of that, then the way the AI will answer is in a way that is not fully scientific or fully significant. Whereas if you ask, what happened in that religion, that other religion, that belief, that other belief, you get either a negation of like, this is not beyond the AI's ability, or some interpretation that is acceptable to the public. But why should then not have the proper full understanding of what Krishna is in terms of laws of nature and powers of nature, and how these are reverberations of nature and interactions between the creative part and the energy part and like that, which are quite interesting and complex and very revealing about how nature works. So AI needs to be properly trained, and proper training means to have a proper holistic perspective. And I really commend Malhotra ji for his desire to train also and input knowledge into the AI system that will allow a proper understanding of the ancient traditions, and particularly, in this case, Veda and the Vedic literature and all that goes around it. I look forward always to collaborate with him. A great soul, a great mind, and a true seeker of only truth and expanding it and making it known to all mankind. Congratulations on being you, Malhotra ji, and doing what you are doing, and particularly the work of the Infinity Foundation in supporting research and knowledge and expanding knowledge in the direction of making life better for everyone, no matter what is their background or actually even belief system, that this knowledge is supreme. And infinity is a wonderful term because it expresses the reality underlying all that there is, which is pure consciousness, which is unbounded, infinite, unlimited, reservoir of intelligence and creativity, which is within us and which we can tap into and have a life that is most fulfilling.